Brooklyn Beckham has addressed his long-running feud with his family and claimed that his parents, Lady Victoria and Sir David, have been attempting to ruin his relationship. Brooklyn Beckham has broken his silence on his family feud. The star said that he had been silent for years and made every effort to keep his feud private. However, he also claimed that his parents, Lady Victoria and Sir David Beckham, had attempted to ruin his relationship with billionaire Nicola Peltz. The social media content creator also claimed that Posh Spice had danced very inappropriately on him at his wedding in 2022 and had also allegedly hijacked his first dance with Nicola. "500 guests had witnessed the alleged awkward moment." In a statement shared on his Instagram page, Brooklyn said, "I have been silent for years and made every effort to keep these matters private. Unfortunately, my parents and their team have continued to go to the press, leaving me with no choice but to speak for myself and tell the truth about only some of the lies that have been printed." But while reports have claimed that the wannabe chef had been contemplating reaching out to his family, this couldn't be further from the case for him. He added, "I do not want to reconcile with my family. I am not being controlled, I am standing up for myself for the first time in my life." "For my entire life, my parents have controlled narratives in the press about our family. The performative social media posts, family events and inauthentic relationships have been a fixture of the life I was born into. Recently, I have seen with my own eyes the lengths that they'll go through to place countless lies in the media, mostly at the expense of innocent people, to preserve their own facade. But I believe the truth always comes out." The 26-year-old also claimed that his famous parents had wanted him to sign the rights to his name away, which he claims could have had repercussions for the rest of his life, including repercussions for his wife and any future children. He furiously said, "My parents have been trying endlessly to ruin my relationship since before my wedding, and it hasn't stopped. My mom cancelled making Nicola's dress in the 11th hour despite how excited she was to wear her design, forcing her to urgently find a new dress. Weeks before our big day, my parents repeatedly pressured and attempted to bribe me into signing away the rights to my name, which would have affected me, my wife, and our future children. They were adamant on me signing before my wedding date because then the terms of the deal would be initiated. My holdout affected the payday, and they have never treated me the same since. During the wedding planning, my mom went so far as to call me evil because Nicola and I chose to include my nanny Sandra, and Nicola's nanny at our table, because they both didn't have their husbands. Both of our parents had their own tables equally adjacent to ours. The night before our wedding, members of my family told me that Nicola was not blood and not family. Since the moment I started standing up for myself with my family, I've received endless attacks from my parents, both privately and publicly, that were sent to the press on their orders. Even my brothers were sent to attack me on social media, before they ultimately blocked me out of nowhere this last summer. My mom hijacked my first dance with my wife, which had been planned weeks in advance, to a romantic love song. In front of our 500 wedding guests, Mark Anthony called me to the stage, wherein the schedule was planned to be my romantic dance with my wife, but instead my mum was waiting to dance with me instead. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone. I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life. We wanted to renew our vows so we could create new memories of our wedding day that bring us joy and happiness, not anxiety and embarrassment. Brooklyn continued, claiming that his family had continually disrespected his wife by inviting women from his past into the family. He said, "My wife has been consistently disrespected by my family, no matter how hard we've tried to come together as one. My mom has repeatedly invited women from my past into our lives in ways that were clearly intended to make us both uncomfortable." Brooklyn had traveled from LA to London to celebrate his dad's 50th birthday with him last year. However, he was noticeably absent from all the celebrations. Now, he has claimed that his family rejected any proposal Brooklyn made to see him. This is said to have included a private coffee meeting with David, rather than attending the large public gatherings. He went on to claim that when David agreed to see him, Nicola was not allowed to be present. When the Beckham family had been in Los Angeles, he claims that they had refused to see him. Brooklyn said, "Despite this, we still traveled to London for my dad's birthday and were rejected for a week as we waited in our hotel room trying to plan quality time with him. He refused all of our attempts, unless it was at his big birthday party with 100 guests and cameras at every corner." When he finally agreed to see me, it was under the condition that Nicola wasn't invited. It was a slap in the face. Later, when my family traveled to LA, they refused to see me at all. My family values public promotion and endorsements above all else. Brand Beckham comes first. Family love is decided by how much you post on social media, or how quickly you drop everything to show up and pose for a family photo op, even if it's at the expense of our professional obligations. And despite the tense fallout slowly happening over several years, Brooklyn insists that he and his wife had gone out of their way to keep the peace and maintain a happy family image. This, however, he claims, was not reciprocated by his family. Instead, he claims that when Los Angeles was engulfed by tragic wildfires last year, he was ignored. "We've gone out of our way for years to show up and support at every fashion show, every party, and every press activity to show our perfect family," he said, before going on to claim, But the one time my wife asked for my mom's support to save displaced dogs during the LA fires, my mom refused. The narrative that my wife controls me is completely backwards. I have been controlled by my parents for most of my life. I grew up with overwhelming anxiety. For the first time in my life, since stepping away from my family, that anxiety has disappeared. I wake up every morning grateful for the life I chose, and have found peace and relief. My wife and I do not want a life shaped by image, press, or manipulation. All we want peace, privacy, and happiness for us and our future family. The bombshell statement comes after Brooklyn served his parents with a legal letter. Despite the fallout, his parents had continued to tag him in social media posts, as well as sharing throwback snaps from happier times. He instructed his lawyers to issue a desist letter to his parents and demanded they no longer tag him on social media. Brooklyn later blocked his entire family from following him on Instagram. This had been done in order to protect his mental health. A source familiar with the family's feud, which kicked off in May, told the Mirror that Brooklyn's mental health came first, adding that the letter was sent to protect the wannabe chef after his requests to stop had gone ignored. It had been claimed that Transformers actress Nicola is controlling her husband and is behind the estrangement. However, Brooklyn, who told his wife he would always choose her in one of his many gushing Instagram posts, is said to be deeply hurt by the misogynistic claims. A source said, "This narrative is so sexist and misogynistic, and he does not stand for his wife being vilified in this way." It's a story as old as time. Blame the woman for the man's actions. It's just deeply insulting. One of the main issues at play is that Brooklyn believes his parents still see him as a child and not as an adult. A pal said, even the Christmas post by his dad was of Brooklyn as a child.